welcome to the Altenew Eclectic Vibes Collection release, video hop, and giveaway. Here I'm highlighting the Gardenia Duo set, which includes a stamp, a die, and a stencil. I'm putting the outline stamps onto my block. I'm using my Altenew stamp conditioner, and I'm stamping them in Arctic Mountain. I'm stamping the leaves with Sea Forest from the set. And I'm stamping them onto spicy yogurt cardstock. I think it just gives that extra touch to the florals. And I realized I had enough so that I could have my front card front on the other side of that piece of paper. So I went ahead and I stamped my sentiment with the Arctic Mountain ink pad. Now the inks I'm using today are from the Northern Shore and the Nature's Wonders. This was from the last release that Altenew did. It also included Martian Terrain, which is another one of my favorites. The inks are also gorgeous. But I chose today to go, I was in a blue mood, which is my favorite color, so it's not surprising that I chose a blue. I try to stay away from it because I would like blue all the time, so I try to pick other colors and expand out there. So here I'm using my small ink blending tool from Altenew, and I'm going in with icy water and I'm adding the color. Now there is a solid stamp, which would be stamp number 2 in the layering guide, that you can go ahead and you can stamp this solidly, but I think blending it gives a different look. And that's one thing I love, is that Altenew gives us the options to be creative. They give us the tools. In this one set, there are so many different things that you can do, and I'll show you another way to do these florals in just a moment. Here I'm using Polar Bear. I'm going in and just adding little pockets of color. I am overall coloring it, but I put a little darker here and there. And again, the spicy yogurt helps. It just adds that little extra touch. You can see the little flecks, like the cinnamon colored flecks, and you can see them through the ink blending, which is just absolutely gorgeous. So we're gonna get this one colored in, and then we'll go at superhuman speed, which I wish I could do all the time, and we'll get this one colored in as well. Now we're going to cut off the card front panel because I was worried I was going to stick something onto it. So we cut that off, and now we're going to take the Nature's Wonders ink family and our detail blending brushes, and we're going to go in and we're going to give these leaves some beautiful color and dimension by adding highlights and details. These brushes are phenomenal. If you have not used these, don't have these in your stash, try one set. I have a set for each color family, so one for green, red, blue, that type of thing. And they're amazing. I can't say enough good about these brushes. They are phenomenal. So I started with my number 10 brush, which is the biggest one in the set, and I laid down a layer of Misty Moore ink, which I'm going to use for this, which I call my snowshoe leaf, because it to me looks like snowshoes. Don't know if it's because I'm a Mainer, don't know if it's because I'm Native American, but it looks like a cute little pair of snowshoes. So I'm going to go with calling it my snowshoe leaf. So I'm going in with my number 5 brush, and I'm adding in Marshland to give it some details, some highlights, some dimension. And you see that I will go over, I'll get ink, I'll pounce off on my stencil, and then I'll go back and pick up some of that ink. These brushes hold a lot of ink, and sometimes I want a more delicate look. So it's better to be safe than sorry, is my theory. And by that, I mean I don't want to put too much ink down right out of the gate. I would rather be able to control it a little bit better. And that's where pouncing off on the stencil or the paper comes in. The stencil is much better because you can go back and pull that ink and reuse it. If it's on the paper, it's on the paper. So I recommend just pouncing on your stencil. So for these leaves, the single leaf, we're going to take the number 10 again. We're going to start with Marshland. So like our florals, we want to have just a bit of difference in the two sets that we're using here. So for this one, I will go in with the detail blending brush, the number 5, and I will use Sea Forest, and that will add my dimension, my depth, and the highlight that I'm looking for. And these stencils are priceless for doing this. The combination, really, of these brushes and the stencils, out of the park. Because in the old days, when we had just the regular blending, either the large or the small, we had to really mask off. Like, I would have had to use a lot of masking tape. Then you worry about ripping your images or, messing up and tearing the paper. Just all kinds of things can happen when you have that masking tape. But these brushes, I don't have to mask off. The only reason I have that piece of tape there is so that my stencil doesn't move on me while I'm coloring. So I am going to go in superhuman speed again. Oh, it's so cool to see the dimension come with adding all the color, and it's going so fast. But yeah, so these brushes are great. You don't have to mask off. I just have, like I said, that little piece just to hold my stencil in place, and I kind of do it sometimes too. I'm going back and finishing up my little snowshoes, and I like to do one thing at a time, so single leaf snowshoe at a time. Here I'm showing you what I was talking about earlier. You can just ink blend this floral and then add the third layer from the layering guide onto it. So it gives a very delicate look, and I'll show you again in a moment, and I will compare that to the outlines that we did. So I'll put them side by side so you can see it better. Here I'm showing you, I like to freehand stamp, and I've been practicing, which it's a skill you have to practice. So I'm showing you here, I like to line my stamp up before it has ink on it. It gives me a roadmap, so I know what orientation my block's in, what orientation I need to go into the floral, and it just, that way I don't fidget and worry about getting ink everywhere and all that. So now we're taping down all these glorious, beautiful images, and we're die cutting them. And here I'm showing you the difference. Outline, no outline. And it's wonderful that Altenew gives us this option. I just love the options we can get out of one stamp combo from Altenew. Here I'm fidgeting around with my leaves and my florals and just seeing what I like and where everything goes best. And I'm going to do press and seal, which I don't do often. I have a difficult time with press and seal for some reason. I probably shouldn't admit that. So I'm going in here and I'm just drawing lines as a little roadmap again to put my card front panel back, because I always have problems. I lift it up and I'm like, oh gosh, where did my card panel go? So I gave you a thumbs up because it all stuck to the press and seal pretty good. I added my adhesive, and I even added a little bit to the card panel, which I'm going to kind of regret a little bit because I went over. But now I'm lining it up on the press and seal where my little lines are. Thank goodness for those. And I'll give you a handshake because it came off, but my one leaf. So I put the one leaf where I put too much adhesive. And then now I'm grabbing my foam tape because I really want to pop that one floral up just to give it a little oomph. It just looks so nice, and the Altenew foam tape is just phenomenal. Phenomenal, phenomenal. So I had made this card before in a portrait position, which I will show you, and it seemed to be missing something at this stage, so I had done some white splatter. So I wanted this card set to match, so I went ahead and did some white splatter. I recommend keeping the nozzle off your card. That's where those bigger drops come from. I did get a little bit bigger drops than I wanted to on my floral, but it's okay. And luckily I'd used the foam tape because it makes a little handle so I can move my card around without getting my fingers into the ink. It worked out great. So here I'm going to show you now the two cards side by side. And I'm showing you here that the white really does lighten. It looks so vibrant on the right, but it does sink into the paper and the ink, and it does lighten. And here's the finished card. I hope today I've encouraged you to look at your stencil sets, your stamp stencil die sets, in a little bit of a different way. And I hope you continue on the hop and have a wonderful day. Until next time, happy crafting.